Starting and running a business is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're an established business owner or thinking about starting a side hustle to earn extra income, I am here to teach you how to show up as your unfiltered self, level up your business, and thrive as a mompreneur. Let's embrace the chaos and start enjoying the journey together. I'm Amy Traw, and you're listening to the Motivated Mompreneur podcast. Welcome back into the Motivated Mompreneur podcast. Today, I am joined by Jennifer Jakobsen, and she is the business therapist. And today we are talking all things mindset, because honestly, mindset is really the key to running a successful business. Everything goes back to mindset. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation with her. And this is part one of a two-part episode we are doing. So be sure then when you're done listening to this episode, you hop on over to Jennifer's podcast and listen to part two, where we're going to go into even more of the strategy and how to design that business around your life and get out of that hustle mode. But it really starts with mindset. So that being said, Jennifer, I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here too. I just love chatting with you. I love your energy. It just always makes my day. So,
Oh my gosh. Same. I feel exactly the same about you. So for those listeners that don't know who you are, tell us all about yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So I call myself the business therapist. And actually, this came from some of my clients. I would coach with them and they would be like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, you are actually our business therapist. And I realized that that was the kind of work I was really doing, because I am actually a licensed clinician. I have my LCSW, which means licensed clinical social worker. So I have been doing therapy for 20 years, and then I pivoted into the life coaching space about 6 years ago. And so because I've had my business that long, and then so many people were starting their online businesses, and I'm like, I want to combine these two pieces of me to help women really overcome the self-doubt, lay the limiting beliefs, get everything cleaned up and out of the way so that they can attract paying clients, dream clients over and over and over again in their business. Because so often it is actually our mindset that gets in the way. And when we can clean up our mindset and have a really just a positive belief system around our business, that is where the magic happens. So this is what I love to do. I love that I can combine the therapy side of me and the coaching side of me to really help women, moms, anyone who's got an online business, really any woman who has an online business, to really be successful. Because I think the more women who can be successful, who have heart-centered businesses and really want to make an impact, this world's just going to be a better place. So I am so passionate about this.
Oh my gosh, I can truly feel your passion, because yes, together we can make an impact. When we link arms together, this world's going to be absolutely incredible. And seeing so many women finally taking control of our lives and developing a life on our terms is so cool. I'm excited for my daughters now, showing them how to do this, and that it's okay to change your mind. Like you, I come from a career in healthcare, physical therapy, not mental health, that world, but a lot of parallels exist. And I love how you're using your past experience to really help your clients navigate these uncharted territories. Because you're right, this self-doubt and these self-limiting beliefs pop up, and they can be absolutely debilitating if we let them.
They really can. And that's the sad piece. And it really is, it's so simple, but it's so hard to do on your own. It's really so simple to change our thoughts, but it takes work. It takes practice. It's just like going to the gym. You have to build that muscle in your brain the way that you would build your muscles, when you're doing, crunches or whatever. Right. So, but it's really, unless you're unless you're walked through the process of really being able to identify the thoughts that are getting in your way and question them and shift them and then practice, you just can't, like, you can't see how much they're holding you back. And it's really like the work that I do, which is why I think I'm so passionate and excited about it, is like it's life changing. It's not just going to change your business, it's going to change everything about who you are, and like all those things that we have been struggling with since probably we were little girls,
Yeah.
these thoughts that keep coming up, and we just accept them as the truth. We accept them as part of who we are and our personality, and it doesn't have to be there. Like if it's not serving you, if it's not helping you be successful in your business, in your relationships, just in your own love of yourself, like we can remove them. We can clean them up, get rid of them, and start showing up as kind of a new improved you. Not that there's anything wrong with you the way you are, but we all have these thoughts. This is how we've survived for, like, as long as we've been on this planet. We are always going to default to the negative, and that's just how our human brain works, but it doesn't always serve us. And so if we can really take a look at that and really shift some things, like there's just so much that's possible. And so I just, yeah, and I love seeing those transformations. Nothing lights me up more than seeing people like, okay, I hadn't thought about it that way before. Oh my gosh, yes, I can do this, and this feels really good for me. And seeing my clients have those transformations is like, yeah, that's just like, I don't even know how I'm so lucky to get to do something I love so much and get paid for it. It's amazing.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And your gym analogy, that is so spot on
Yeah,
because this isn't one of those things where you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm not going to have any more self doubt. It takes
right.
a lot of
Right.
practice. It takes
Really does.
developing that inner awareness. And what I didn't even realize when I first became a business owner was how much of a personal development journey it is.
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness, because you're right. That self-doubt does start to creep in. So what do you think step number one is to really like gaining control over those thoughts that we have?
I mean, step number one, and I mean, it seems obvious, and you've probably heard this before. It's just the awareness. It's actually knowing what the thoughts are that are getting in your way. And sometimes they're very sneaky. We have to be like, we have, and this is the hard thing for moms, especially, to like have that moment where you sort of just have some quiet time and listen in, whether you do like a journaling, just a thought download where you just kind of like write out everything you're thinking, where you have a meditation session where you sit and you just kind of observe your thoughts, but you have to absolutely be aware of what your thoughts are, because this is the crazy thing. We have 60,000 thoughts a day. And I mean, that I think that it's probably even more than that, but
I would say
and it's,
definitely more.
yeah. Well, for moms,
For
right?
moms,
Like
yes,
the average
yes,
person,
absolutely.
I think 60 moms are probably like, yeah, at least 100,000 thoughts a day. And the thing is that they're often the same thoughts over and over again. And again, like I said, they're often negative. Most of them are going to be negative. So it's really noticing what are those thoughts that are just coming in, and you can't control them. So don't get mad at yourself if you're having this, really crappy thought. Don't get mad at yourself. Just notice it and be like, okay, I see you, thought. I see you, brain. I see what you're doing there. And I know that you're giving me this thought to keep me safe, but I don't want to be safe, which is why this is so interesting. This is why entrepreneurship does bring up all of this stuff, because when we have to put ourselves out there and we have to be visible online and we have to show up and we have to, maybe be on video or put a picture of ourselves out there or put content out there, like we naturally are going to have to, like, we're going to have all those thoughts come up. They're going to still be there, and they're going to sort of raise their ugly head in a way that they haven't before. So really being aware and noticing. And I notice for myself, like a lot of times when I'm scrolling on social media, not intentionally, like intentionally scrolling is okay. When you're not being intentional about your scroll, I've noticed for me, that's when a lot of my comparisonitis thoughts come up. Like, why is she doing that? It looks so easy and it feels so much harder for me, right? Or, you might feel that imposter syndrome, like, oh, what are they doing over there that, like, who are they? They have this like amazing seven-figure business and, they're in Tahiti, like, right? And
Right.
you're like, maybe I can't do that. Maybe I'm a fraud. Maybe I will never be able, so there's like the imposter syndrome and the comparisonitis combining together on that one. But noticing the thoughts is definitely the first step, because if they're not serving you, they don't have to be there anymore. And that's what's so empowering for women, is that we can choose what we do when those thoughts come in. We can't always control them coming in, but we can absolutely control how we perceive those thoughts, if we want to hang on to them, or if we're like, I don't like this thought so much. I think I'm going to get rid of it and clear some room for a new thought to come in.
Oh, so good, because you're right. So much of our day is on autopilot. All of those thoughts are on autopilot. And until you really have that awareness of it,
Yeah.
you're just going to be going through the motions and not even realizing that these things are bubbling up. Because let's face it can be hard to stop and be still, especially as a mom. I think it's very difficult. I still have a hard time with getting quiet. And I think it's just a matter of figuring out, what does that look like for you? For some people, maybe it is meditation. Other people, maybe it's doing, a mindfulness walking meditation where you're moving or journaling and really seeing what works for you. Because unless you're aware of it, you can't ever change that. I love everything you said. And then something else you said too was just really getting curious. Once you start noticing those thoughts,
Yeah.
you can control your perception. You can shift that belief. That right there, if you take nothing else away from this episode, that right there is where you get your power back. You
Yeah.
have the power to shift those thoughts. And for me, it was just a matter of really starting to question them, getting curious. Like, okay, so I see her sitting on the beach in Tahiti, bringing in seven figures. Let's get curious. Let's see, like, all right, well, what can I learn from her? Or would I really want that lifestyle? I don't
Yes.
know. For me, I have kids, and would I really want them living, as a nomad on a beach in Tahiti? I don't
Right.
know if that would really be the best thing for my
Exactly.
kids right now. So
Yeah.
I love your explanation of that.
I'm interrupting this episode to share an incredible networking opportunity that happens every single Monday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Join us for coffee talk and meet and collaborate with other mompreneurs just like you. Networking has grown my business by leaps and bounds, and I would love to share this opportunity with you. All the details can be found in our show notes. Now back to the show.
I think it's, yeah. And so once you notice those thoughts, that's where you can kind of, like you said, get curious. Like, how is this thought serving me? Is this actually a helpful thought for me? Or is it really holding me back in terms of like becoming that person that I really want to be, especially in business, right? Because in order to be successful in business, let's just face the facts, ladies, like, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You really do. And sometimes we are going to have a hard time getting out of that comfort zone if we've got these limiting beliefs holding us back. So once you're aware that they're there and you're curious, again, don't get mad at yourself. Don't get down on yourself. Just say, like, okay, I noticed this thought is not really helpful. Let's take the Tahiti example. I noticed when I'm comparing myself to this other entrepreneur, that doesn't feel good for me. I don't want to feel this way anymore. So, how can I look at that thought differently so I feel differently? So, again,
Mm.
questioning the thought and then asking yourself, like, what is a different thought that would feel better for me? Right. So, for example, if you know that seeing this person on the beach in Tahiti makes you feel like crap, say to yourself, well, wait, what do I have? Like, the thought is like, I'll never have what she has. you can say to yourself,
Yeah.
what do I have that I absolutely love? Right. And especially for moms, like, do I really want to be on the beach? No, I want to be with my kids. But, even though we think, oh gosh, taking them to soccer practice and volleyball practice is such a pain sometimes, but we get to do that, right? We get to have a business where we can decide our schedule and we get to be with our children. And, Tahiti will always be there, hopefully. Right. So it's really shifting your perspective, shifting the way you look at things. And what's great, and then I guess the next step is, when you're able to shift your thought, try on a new thought and say, how does that feel? You know what? I get to take my kids to practice. I get to be present with them. I get to enjoy the things that are going on in their life. This feels better. So I'm going to practice that thought. Every time I start to compare myself to others, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to remember what I have and shift that thought. And then you practice it. You practice catching yourself in the negative thought spiral, and you stop it and you replace it with a better thought that feels better for you. And this is the beauty. Okay, here's what comes next. When you're feeling better, what becomes possible is you can take new actions. And when you take new actions, you get new results. So in business, if now you're feeling really grateful for your life, you're looking around and you're like, I don't care about Tahiti anymore. I'm loving my life. This is amazing. And you really find that happiness and you shift those thoughts every time they come and practice gratitude and feel really happy and excited for where you are. Guess how you're showing up on social media when you're doing if you're doing an event, if you're at an event, if you're at a networking group or whatever it is, the way that you're showing up, you're coming from a place of gratitude, happiness, not that crappy feeling that you were having before. And that is where the magic happens, because now you're showing up in this amazing, with this amazing mindset, this amazing space. And so that's when you take different actions and you really talk about things a lot more confidently, you feel more authentic. And that's when people really can connect with you and sign with you over and over again, because once you can nurture those relationships, then people are going to be like, I want to be around this girl because she has so much confidence. She's so authentic. But none of that can happen if you're, going through these really, crappy thoughts that are causing you to feel really bad about yourself. None of that is possible until you deal with the thoughts first.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I always used to think that confidence was something people were born with or they weren't.
Mm.
But through my entrepreneurial journey, I realized like, no, I have to embrace her now. That woman that I want to become. I have to train my brain that that is normal and seeking those opportunities. And I love too how you said, when I'm scrolling on social, I set an intent because
Mm.
I think it's so easy to lose sight of the fact that we're only seeing a highlight reel. We're only seeing a snapshot of what's happening during the day. We're not seeing the sink full of dishes, off in the other
Right.
room. We're not seeing the kids that have just had a meltdown or the 20 takes that it took to get our kids smiling at the same time without one of them blinking or looking off into, who knows
Right.
where. We
Yeah.
have to really remember that we're just seeing that snapshot. So, I'm really being intentional has been a game changer for me
Oh
too.
my God. So
Setting that
true.
intent. Okay, what am I going onto social media with the intent to do right now? Is it to engage with those that are already in my world, to build relationships, to form new relationships? When you really have that intent, it takes some of that icky feeling of social media away. I think so often we think, oh, I have to do this. But something
Yeah.
you said too is I get to.
Yeah.
No, I get to engage with these incredible people on the all from all over the world that if I didn't have social media, I'd never get to meet them. I'd never be able to collaborate with them, to talk with them, to learn from them, to help them. And like you said, it takes practice. And something else you talked about too was gratitude, which I am such a big believer in gratitude because it totally does rewire our brains. Can you
Yes.
expand a little bit more upon gratitude and why that's so important as business owners, as moms, that we integrate gratitude into our day?
Absolutely. Gratitude is like my favorite like mindset hack that I mean, I have used this for years, honestly, and it always works. It works every single time I do it because whenever I notice myself, and really like when we're talking about mindset, sometimes the little kind of the little red flags that are popping up are your feelings. If you notice yourself feeling just I keep saying crappy because I don't know what else to say, but like if you're feeling, you know, discouraged or you're feeling sad or you're feeling stressed or you're feeling, you know, overwhelmed, the feeling is your kind of a little like that little nudge. Okay, there's something not going right with your thoughts if you're having that feeling. So sometimes tuning into the feeling can really help us figure out, okay, where is this feeling coming from? So that's another way to like get in touch with what the thought is. But time and time again, if you notice yourself having a thought that isn't serving you, going to gratitude is always going to work. I'm telling you, every single person on this planet, no matter what is going on in their life, can find at least something to feel grateful for. And if we can shift to the gratitude, if we can shift to, you know, just appreciating what we have. And I mean, as entrepreneurs, ladies, like we have such an opportunity to, I don't know, I'm going to go off because I feel so, I have so much gratitude for this opportunity. And that's why I want to help so many other women have, you know, really be able to embrace this opportunity too, because being your own boss and being able to serve other people like on your own terms and make money doing it, like that to me is like the ultimate gratitude. Like looking at that, I come back to that time and time again because, you know, there are days where, you know, I've got like one thing after another and I don't even have time to eat lunch. I'm like squeezing in time to go to the bathroom because, you know, but it's like one thing after another. And then my daughter will call and she'll need a ride home from school because she's not feeling well. And I'm like, I want to scream. And I'm like, but I get to do this. I get to be here for her if she needs somebody to pick her up. And, you know, maybe I need to reschedule a meeting. That's okay. You know what I mean? So it's really coming back to what are you grateful for in your life? And I promise you, if you can shift to that time and time again, start there because that is going to have you feeling so much more positive, so much more excited about your life, so much more hopeful. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, this is going to make you, it's just going to take you into a different headspace. And that's what mindset is all about, is just really taking you to a different place in your head because just what you said, Amy, like the tiny little shift between I have to versus I get to, like that shift, like if we say to ourselves all day long, God, I have to do this and I have to make dinner and I have to do bath time and I have to do bedtime and I have to read this book to my kid and I have to help them with their homework. If we go through our days saying that, how do you think we're going to feel? How do you think we're showing up? What do you think our actions are? Not good, right? But if you shift it, just that one tiny word, I get to, if you just shift it to that, your feeling is so different. I get to do these things. I am so grateful that I get to read my kid this book. You know, even if I'm tired, I get to do it because they're not always going to be here, right? And I'm on the other side of it because my kids are getting older and I'm feeling the I'm feeling the other side of motherhood where okay, now they're getting ready to move out of the house and oh my God. So yeah, gosh, just feel so grateful for all the time that I have had with them and still have with them. And yeah, it just makes such a difference in how you feel and then what your actions are and how you show up and then your results in everything in life, in your business, in your relationships, in all of it is just so much more positive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such a great explanation because you're shifting that focus away from what am I lacking? What do I, have to do to I get to do this. And what a great example that's setting for our kids because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
always watching. No matter how old or young our kids are, they
Yeah.
act like they're not paying attention, but they're noticing how do we handle these situations? Are we constantly going through life hurried, like, oh, I have to make dinner, I have to do the laundry, I have to go pick you up? Like, no, we're teaching them such a valuable gift. I get to.
Yeah.
And that just makes you such a, just exude a different energy and be such an incredible present mom. Oh, Jennifer, this was such an incredible conversation. And we are going to continue this conversation over in part two. But before we do that, I want you to share where we can learn more about you and how can we get into your world?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to connect with anyone who wants to reach out and have a chat over Instagram. That's where I'm at, hanging out intentionally, usually trying to be intentional on Instagram. So I'm at J Jakobsen Life Coach, and that's Jakobsen with a K. Um, and obviously, I have my own podcast. So everyone's going to head over there to hear part two of this. So that podcast is called Clarity to Cash. And then I'm hoping I have a gift for your audience today, Amy, because I mean, mompreneurs, wow, we have so many of these limiting beliefs. And sometimes it helps to figure out like, what flavor are my limiting beliefs falling into? So I have an amazing, super fun quiz that hopefully you can link in the show notes, but it's really about uncovering exactly what's keeping you from more clients and cash in your business. And so what that will do is help you, figure out exactly what your main limiting belief is, what kind of category that falls into, and then it's going to give you super actionable implementable today tips to start shifting those thoughts so that you can have more success in your business and just attract those paying clients in over and over again. So,
Oh, what an incredible resource. Everything is linked up in the show notes, including the link to part two over on the Clarity to Cash podcast. Jennifer, I am looking forward to continuing our conversation, and it was great chatting with you over here on the Motivated Mompreneur podcast.
thanks so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
And until next time, mamas, stop dreaming and start taking messy action. You've got this. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.